Folks, welcome back for Game 5 with the Hatebears deck. This was my favorite game that we played because it was the most competitive amongst all of them. This guy right here, Twice Baked Potato, made the game, and he put in the comments section CEDH, which stands for Competitive EDH, which made me think that my deck was going to do pretty good because my deck gets better in a competitive environment. My deck essentially just says play creatures or die. But if you play creatures, then I die. So the deck isn't the best against creature decks. So this guy right here won the die roll. I decided to keep my hand, even though it is slow, because it has Eidolon of Rhetoric, which I just know is a silver bullet versus Jaleva, the real Jaleva, not like the last game, but like a good Jaleva list. And he made the game, so I'm assuming he's going to be running the tier 1, kill you on turn 3 kind of deck or whatever. And then we have the Locust God here, and then this guy, which I've seen him a couple of times. I don't know what could be in this guy's deck. I'm assuming it's some type of powerful reanimation strategy. So he plays Evolving Wilds in a mono black deck, which, I mean, he must really want the shuffle effects, because I don't know why he would run Evolving Wilds in a deck like that. So I drew Mother of Runes, which is great. It gives me protection from my Eidolon. He plays Swamp and Pass. This guy plays a Ponder. So everybody's got a little bit of action going on. This guy plays Bajuka Bog, nukes his Ponder and his land, and then plays a Traveler's Amulet. So here, nothing exciting, just playing a land, passing the turn, leaving up Mother of Runes to protect herself. This guy plays Vampiric Tutor at instep. Then he plays a land and plays a Felwar Stone. I'm fairly positive that that is not the card that he searched for with the Vampiric Tutor. It just doesn't make very much sense. There's a lot of other good targets. So that's definitely not the card he searched for, and I'm still kind of thinking about what it is. And then he casts another Imperial Seal, so he's setting something up, clearly. This guy's getting ready to go off already. I'm confident of it. You can tutor twice in that deck, then you're probably going to do something really sick on your next turn. So this guy plays a land and passes, leaving his mana up. This guy gets a land out of his deck. Plays Vampiric Rites. It's a pretty cool card. You can sacrifice a creature to gain life and draw cards. It's pretty cool. It's my two favorite things in Magic is gaining life and drawing cards. So I like that enchantment. So here I jam Eidolon of Rhetoric. This guy's tapped out. I know it's powerful versus his deck no matter what he's trying to do. And I have Mother of Runes protection, which is great. I'm not sure how bothered this guy is by it, but he didn't counter it. So that's pretty cool. He's representing counter magic. So here he plays a land tapped and then taps down for a Toxic Deluge, paying 4 life, which would be like really bad for me because not only that, I'm pretty sure this isn't the card he tutored for either. He's still got those, but this helps him to go off essentially. I mean, I can't protect anything with Mother of Runes, and it just kills what I'm trying to do against him. And I really want this to stay in play to just kind of pin him down and make it so that he cannot do what he wants to do. That's basically my only option here. And I was super lucky that this guy had a Remand, which might as well be a hard counter in this situation. It does force my hand. It makes me Windfall, so I have to get rid of my Hushwing Griff. But I can get rid of the Toxic Deluge and hopefully those 2 cards that he tutored for. This guy just plays another land and passes. And then taps out for no reason. That guy just passes the turn. And I play Windfall. It sucks that I have to get rid of the Recruiter of the Guard and the Hushwing Griff. But I basically have to do that here because I don't want him to do his thing. Even if I'm stopping it with Eidolon of Rhetoric, I need to get rid of that Toxic Deluge. And it's going to happen. The guy tapped down so he doesn't have any more counter magic. It's going to happen, so I have to Windfall his hand away. And he discards Dramatic Reversal, Isochron Scepter. Those are clearly the 2 cards he tutored for. He just needed any other artifact ramp to kind of go off with that. And with Intuition, he was going to be able to set that up like pretty soon. So Eidolon of Rhetoric was pretty clutch here. Everybody's got new 7-card hand. I have a Mental Misstep, which is okay. It gives me some action. Here I attack this guy just to put everybody on an even keel. I'm already destroying this guy, so I didn't want to attack him too aggressively, even though he is an Ad Nauseam deck, and I probably should be attacking him. This guy could also be running Ad Nauseam, although with this curve, probably not. He got a bunch of stuff in his graveyard, including Vengeful Pharaoh, which I did not see, and it made me put my shields down for Mother of Runes. So I attack him. He tries to kill. Eidolon with the Vengeful Pharaoh, and then I protect it with the Mother of Runes. But that was just a misplay. I should have seen that, and I also should not have attacked him knowing that. Probably should have just attacked this guy since he is running ad nauseum. That's like one of his few ways of probably getting out of a situation like this is he ad nauseums and he gets like Chant of Vapor or something like that and stops the Eidolon, gets it out of play so that he can just proceed to go off. He plays a Signet and passes the turn. This guy plays a Jace Balerion. Each player draws a card. Again, I'm not really happy with that. I don't really want that to occur. Just like last game when Jace was played. Like I said, I like to keep everyone's resources low. Everybody has a pretty stacked hand right now, but I don't want it to stay that way. I mean, Eidolon of Rhetoric is doing a pretty good job of making sure that everybody keeps cards in their hands or whatever, but still. So I play Sisei here. It allows me to search for lands, and I can play my creatures and play lands in one turn cycle, so it makes it so that I can get more value out of my Eidolon of Rhetoric than anyone else. And here I just attack Jace for 1, leaving open Mother of Runes again. This guy plays a Baral. I can't imagine he's happy about the board state here. He wants it to change. He needs something to change in order for him to do what he wants to do. Even with a new grip of 7 cards, normally that would be great for a Jaleva deck. They run lots of wheels. But considering I stripped his original combo, like something like Yawgmoth's Will won't even work because he can't get past the Eidolon. So he has to get the Eidolon out of here before he can start doing what he wants to do. Again, this guy lets everybody draw a card. I draw a Null Rod, which is okay. There's a decent amount of artifacts here. Everybody's got an artifact. It would basically shut down something of everyone's. This guy plays a Cold Steel Heart. More things that die to the Null Rod. So here I use Sisei, and I get Gaddock Teague just to further the lock, make it hard for someone to board wipe. That guy's Toxic Deluge is gone. He's probably not going to be able to get it back. And there's very few things that I can lose to from this position, and eventually this guy's going to get upset with my board, and he's going to want to wipe it. So to prevent that from being the case, I decided to just get Gaddock Teague. However, he counterspells it, Essence Scatter. I remember saying something like, or he said something like, I want to play Magic or something along the lines of that. And I was like, he pretty much only stops unfair things. And then he was like, and like 90% of my deck. So I get why he countered it. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't matter to me that he counters Gaddock Teague. I would have liked to have had it in play, but it's not the end of the world. So here I just attack Jace again and pass the turn. Leaving open Eladamri's Call. He plays a Necro, and then very conservatively Necros up to 7. Only 2 cards I think he drew that turn. That's one of the most conservative Necros I've ever seen. He clearly is looking for specific cards in order to get out of this, so he probably should have Necroed for more, but that's what he chose to do. This guy pluses Jace again. I draw Edric. Then he taps lots of mana and plays his commander and gives it haste. Guy plays Mortuary Mire, and I'm not sure if he got something back from his graveyard or not, but you can get a creature back with that, put it on top of your library. Then he plays a Necromancy, getting Rune-Scarred Demon. So I assume something really cool is about to happen over here. Something pretty powerful. He's got like a Sacrifice Outlet and stuff going on, so depending on what he can tutor for, he could probably do something pretty sick next turn. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Here I cast Eladamri's Call, and I get Notion Thief. Just to prevent people from... This guy obviously wants to draw cards because that's how his deck works. This stops the Jace from continuing to pester me. And if this guy wants to draw cards to get out of it, I mean, he's already got the Necro, but if he wants to draw cards to get out of it, then he's not going to be able to. So here I use Sisei, and I go get Gaia's Cradle for extra mana. Play the Null Rod, because I can cast the Notion Thief at instant speed, so I just pass the turn. He casts Chant of Vapor on Eidolon of Rhetoric at the end of my turn. I give it Protection of Blue, and I'm thinking this is terrible because like I played Null Rod, so I can't play Mental Misstep on it because that's what I would like to do. But the fact that he Chant of Vapors at end of turn means I can't protect it with Mental Misstep. I have to protect it with my Mother of Runes, and if he has another answer that isn't a 1-mana answer, then I won't be able to Mental Misstep it. So my shields are down for Eidolon dying this cycle, which is not what I want to have happen. So I discard Trigon Predator because I already am locking everything down with Null Rod. It doesn't seem like I should continue to hate on artifacts and enchantments. Although, I mean, I could kill this thing and this thing, but I decided Null Rod would just prevent their development the most. And prevent them from doing things with the lots of mana that some of them have in play. So this guy plays Night's Whisper, and he knows about Notion Thief. So like I don't understand why he did that, but and he can't cast another spell. So he's basically hoping that someone's going to counter my Notion Thief. I guess like this guy's tapped out. He could have Force or Pact or something, or Thwart or Foil. But I play Notion Thief because I want to draw those cards. So he loses 2 life, doesn't draw any cards. I draw Cyclonic Rift and a Forest. And Cyclonic Rift is pretty good whenever you have Eidolon of Rhetoric in play because they can't redeploy their threats in any kind of reasonable time, and then you're just ahead on board for a long time. So this guy necros way less conservatively this time. He draws a bunch of cards, which is what he should have done the first time. So he discards some stuff. Getting rid of Rakdos Signet, Izzet Signet, Time Twister, Grim Tutor, and Island. Exiling it via the Necro. So now it's time for the Locust God to have his turn. And then he casts Incendiary Command, dealing 2 damage to each creature, and each player discards all the cards in their hand and then draws that many cards. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly how this works, like if it goes in order or if they happen at the same time. But depending on that, I might draw all of the cards while Notion Thief is still in play. But I'm not exactly sure how this interaction works, to be 100% honest. But the way I would think it would work, based on how the card reads, is that the creature dies and then we wheel, which means that everybody would get a fresh new hand. But this guy, I think, maybe he knows how it works better than I do, but he counterspells it because he doesn't want that to happen. He does not want me to draw all these cards, and he wants to loot with Baral. So he counters that to prevent everybody's creatures from getting nuked. Or I guess it wouldn't kill Eidolon, but it would kill Notion Thief, Sisay, and that's about it. So he counters and loots with Baral. Then this guy attacks him with both. And then post-combat, he pluses Jace, which it was like kind of like a spiteful play, and I don't really like it, even though I benefited from it. He said something about how this guy countered his spell, and he's just going to do it just because. Maybe he wanted to get his Jace closer to ultimate or whatever, but he let me draw 4 cards off of that. So that probably just wasn't smart. Wasn't a good play. That's the reason I played the Notion Thief, was to stop the Jace, and he just did it anyway, so that just doesn't seem right. This guy plays a Blood Gift Demon, which I was expecting something more powerful than this after he tutored, but I don't think that's the card he tutored for, but he didn't play it. He chose not to play it. Maybe he needed the mana from this in order to play it. Who knows? He attacks the Locust God player. So in a turn, I Worldly Tutored, and I get Saris in it, which is okay. It's just something for the future. Right now, I'm going to play Phyrexian Revoker and lock down this Necropotence. But Saris in it might be a fine play in the future. This guy just quit for like no reason, basically. So he's gone. Maybe I was shutting him down with the Null Rod. Who knows? So here I played Phyrexian Revoker, but unfortunately the game bugs here and it does not work anymore after this. It just completely stops. So it's almost over from here, so I'll explain what happens. I play Phyrexian Revoker, and I name Necropotence. Then I pass the turn, leaving open Aven Mind Sensor. He casts a Demonic Tutor on his next turn, probably for some answer or some way to get rid of Eidolon so he can get out of this, but I cast Aven Mind Sensor in response, so he only gets to look at the top 4. And I don't think he found what he wanted, because not only can he not cast another spell that turn, but he didn't do anything meaningful for the rest of this game. I basically, ever since the Eidolon hit the play, he couldn't do anything, and this just really, really stopped him the entire time, and I knew that. That's why I kept his hand. But yeah, he couldn't get out of it. So on this guy's next turn, he plays Blasphemous Act. So I give protection to my Eidolon to keep it in play. Everything else dies. I use Sisay to find a land or something. Or no, to find Elish Norn, I believe. That sounds about right. I found Elish Norn with Captain Sisay. Then on my next turn, I play Elish Norn, and then on my next turn after that, I drew Living Plane. So everyone died. But yeah, that's about it. And I hope you enjoyed watching the Hatebears deck.